Hello, Stitchy friends! Today is January 1st, 2024. This is the Runner Stitcher, and this is my Flosstube number 4. My name is Andrew, and this is my mom, Sue.
Hi, Stitchy friends.
So we thought today it'd be fun to bring her on board. We'll get into that in a little bit, but first we wanted to just hope everyone had a happy holiday and a happy new year. It's been Christmas and New Year's since the last video I filmed, so hope everybody had a lovely holiday season. We had a good time. We went down to my brother's house and celebrated Christmas early with him and his 2 kids, so they got to play with the grandkids. And then Christmas Day, we came back here and ate a lot of food and chilled and stitched and watched some movies and just very relaxing. And then New Year's was a lot of the same. It was us and my dad, and we just kind of stitched, and we finally watched The Holiday, which is my favorite Christmas movie. And yeah, rung in the new year that way. But we wanted to just start off by saying hope everyone had a happy holiday. So I brought my mom on today since I'm here in Florida at their house right now for the holidays. And I've talked about her on my channel a lot, and she's the one who sort of got me into cross-stitching. So I thought it'd be fun to bring her on here and show a couple of her things. So we were going through old pictures here, and we found a picture of the moment when I received my first cross-stitch kit for Christmas. I must have been how old? Maybe 8, 9?
I'm guessing, yeah, probably.
8 or 9, maybe?
Yeah.
We'll put a picture in here. If you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen this, but here's the picture of the moment I got my first cross-stitch kit. It's a little hard to see, but I received that, and then my mom is the one who taught me actually how to do the kit, so how to do the stitching and everything like that. And I knew that my mom stitched, but what I didn't realize was how she started stitching. So you learned cross-stitching from Grandma, right? And you guys started stitching how?
My mom used to do stamped cross-stitch, and she did mostly pillowcases. She was able to go to a store that was called Goods Store back in the day. And
that was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So it's a very like Dutch, I don't know, it wasn't Amish, but it was like a Dutch country store.
Yes, definitely was. And that's where she bought most of her things. She went there and she would get her thread. I remember her picking out threads when we went. But anyway, she taught me how to do it, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And
I definitely remember her. I don't remember her stitching, my grandma, but I do remember her crocheting a lot. She ended up making Afghans for all of the grandkids, and even I think my mom and her sisters have it as well. So that's what I remember her doing. But we also found this piece that my grandma had crocheted, which it's a doily. I think that's backwards.
Oh, yes, it is. Sorry.
But this was like a really fine crocheting. You think it is crocheting, right?
Yes, it definitely is crocheting. Andrew doesn't believe me because it's so fine. But my mom used a very, very fine needle to do this. It was so fine, I don't know even how she saw to do it, but she did.
But we found that and kept that. So that's how you started stitching. And then you took a break from it, right?
Yes.
And then you sort of got back into it. Or no, you stitched a stamped larger piece.
I did one stamped quilt, a queen size quilt, and I did it in blues. It was flowers, and I don't have the project to show you all because I used it all the years.
And I do remember it on the bed, like for years and years. So
and it finally wore out, so I got rid of it. But it took me a long time to do it. It was a lot of fun. That was before I had gotten into counter cross stitch at all, so that's why I did stamp. That was all I knew at that point.
That was still a stamped kit that you had 3 sections?
It was in like three long sections. That's the way, when you bought the stamped quilts like that, it came in 3 long sections. And then I had my aunt who liked to quilt, and she was a seamstress, and she sewed it together for me and finished it up. To make it into a complete quilt, yeah.
And then you took a little hiatus, and then how did you get back into stitching again?
Then my sister, her husband had passed away, and she moved in with us, and the kids were small, and she started doing counter cross stitch while she was there. And I thought, oh, it looked like fun. I could get back into that. So then I started doing counter cross stitch. We mostly did sweatshirts. We did it on sweatshirts.
And that's what I remember. So I think I told you guys that I remember them stitching on sweatshirts for craft fairs and to sell at like our local holiday markets and things, which they did. But then my mom also reminded me
that I had made some for them.
Yeah.
So as we were going through old pictures, we came across some of them. Andy's are almost all teddy bears because he loved teddy bears. That was his favorite thing. So that's what I did most of his in.
And I guess that's why my first cross stitch kit was also a teddy bear. I guess I was just really into it.
Yeah.
But you also made some for my brother.
I did. A couple for him. And I made matching ones for Andrew and I, which I had totally forgot. I did not remember doing them at all.
So we found this picture. We'll put it up here. But it's of the matching sweatshirts that my mom made for me and her. So, oh God.
And again, it had bears on because that was his favorite.
So that was fun to find in the photo archive as I was down here. But yeah, so then from sweatshirts, then you started another bigger project.
Yeah, I thought, oh, it would be fun to do a counter cross stitch quilt since I had done a stamped one. And so I picked out like 15 to 18 patterns. I can't remember exactly how many it had. And I never finished it completely.
But you got pretty far. You finished like how many?
I think it was 6 or 8 that I had done, that I had actually finished. But I guess I got too busy with the kids and laid it aside and just never picked it back up again. So when we were getting ready to move to Florida, we were downsizing everything. And I went through all my things and came across these patches that were not finished. So I picked out my favorite one and decided I'm going to put it into a picture frame. I really want to keep one of them as a keepsake. So here is the finished project.
So this is my mom's FFO. This was one of the quilt pieces that she wanted to make eventually. And you got this framed at...
I got it framed at Michael's.
Michael's
Did a great job.
Yeah, they did. And you can see like the detail in the hearts. There's roses in there, but there's definitely a lot of like color changes in those hearts. Do you remember if that was difficult, that part?
I remember it took time because you were having to change threads a lot, or else counting a lot, one or the other.
Yeah. And then you've got the tulips on the outside. But it's really pretty. And we were looking at the fabric and it's definitely Aida. We think it was a 14 count Aida.
Yes, because that's almost always what I worked on, was the 14 count.
So that's my mom's FFO. It's still hanging here in the house in Florida. And it's been hanging here, but I just never really noticed that it was here. And so when I saw that it was here, I'm like, we have to bring her on and share her FFO, her project. And we think you finished it maybe when?
I think it was the late 1990s, somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's when
That's about the time she was doing all the sweatshirts and stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, wanted to bring her on board and just kind of share a little bit about her story. But we're going to get now into just the normal stitchy stuff.
I'm really getting cold.
It is a little chilly in here. Okay, we're going to go step into the sun. We'll be right back.
This is much warmer and the sun's shining so bright today.
Much warmer out here. So we thought this would be a fun way to show my first FFO for this video. These are the matching Disney sweatshirts. So made these for us to wear. We're going to Disney this week for the Disney races. And I gave this to my mom for her birthday in December, and the reaction wasn't quite what I was expecting.
I gave him a little bit of a dull reaction. I didn't realize when I opened it, I just took a quick glance and I thought it was stamped on, like a stamp stitch. So as I was looking at it, he disappears and comes out with his that he was working on.
So I was still working on mine. I came out and I said, like, I had to give this to you early because I'm still making a matching one for me. And at the time I had Mickey, Goofy, and Minnie done. And then I guess that's when it hit her.
And then it hit me. It was like, oh my word, he stitched this by hand for me. It's so awesome. And he did such an amazing job. Like, it's just perfect. Like, it's all straight. It's the stitches are just so clear and perfect. I'm just so proud of him. It's amazing. I'm so glad he picked the project back up.
Hers is all straight. Mine, you can probably see it a little bit, but the goofy is a little crooked. I'm not sure how that happened. It didn't look that way when I was stitching on it, but once you're wearing the sweatshirt, you can't tell.
No.
The only other thing to point out is because they are on different colors, you can see the black on hers shows up a lot better. Mine, the black kind of blends in with the navy color. You can still see the stitching, but I definitely like the pop of her color sweatshirt better. Yeah.
So it was so great. I'm so proud of him for doing these. He did a wonderful job. I'm just so happy he did matching sweatshirts for us, because it, like I did back in the day for both of us, and it was just awesome to have him do the same kind of thing as what I had done. I'm just so happy with him.
So we're very happy to share the finished FFOs of the Disney sweatshirts. Welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed my very special guest this week. It was fun to be able to share all of this with my mom. And of course, I'm still wearing my FFO for the week. So this is the Disney sweatshirt. Now we really are, now we're going to get into just more of the normal Flosstube stuff. So I wanted to start off again by, I've been opening this advent calendar that my boyfriend got me, 30 Days of Japan calendar. And it's for while I'm here in Florida and he's still in New York. So I've been opening this and posting what I get each day on my Instagram. If you follow there, you've seen. But I thought, again, today, this will be the last time I can actually open a live box for my Flosstube. So today we are on number 18, which is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open number 18. See what we got today. I'm really loving this box because they have a little bit of everything in it. Ooh, this is pretty. So today we have this little figurine. So cute. This is so cool. I love it. Yeah, so that is today's Japan box. Very cute. Okay, so now let's get into the regular Stitchy content. So today I've got a finish for now, a whip, and I actually have 2 starts to share with you today, which is really exciting. I think this is the first time I've had starts on my channel. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the finish for now. You've seen this a couple times. This is the Odyssey Sal by Quaternium Creations. I will link her Etsy channel down below if you want to go check out the patterns that she's got. I actually did iron it. It's still a little wrinkly. So if anybody has suggestions on ironing this fabric of how to get these like last few wrinkles out, it's definitely much better, but there's still some wrinkles in, so let me know. But I did iron it, and I thought it'd be cool for you guys to see the full thing at this point. So I did finish this little bit of the border down here and the bottom border. And so it's fully complete. The next part of the pattern comes out January 19th, I believe. So we've got a little bit of a break. So you probably won't see this in the next video, but here is the Odyssey Sal right now. So last time we were in this section here with the cattle, and we've moved on to this here. So in the story, Odysseus lost all his men last week after the shipwreck and was alone. He ended up on another island with Calypso. This is Calypso. And as soon as he landed there, she fell in love with him and wanted to make him her husband. And so she kind of kept him there for 7 years, trying to get him to love her, which he never did. And eventually she was ordered to let him go back to his home where he wanted to be. And she did so, and she helped him on his way home. But I just really love this part. I think it fits really well with the rest of the pattern. We've got this little horse here, which is probably a toy that maybe a kid would play with. And then we've got the beautiful Calypso here. And I don't know if you can see, but I added one little red stitch at her heart. And then I also added this little red part here at the end of her hand, just kind of symbolizing her sending him off with love. Even though he didn't return the love as she had hoped, she still sent him off with love. So this is the Odyssey Sal. I also wanted to just show you the back of this one, because why not? I have no shame. But here is the back. So I thought it was pretty cool. It actually looks pretty good, a lot like the front. But anyway, just thought that was fun and thought I would show it while I actually have a back that I can show. So that is the Odyssey Sal. Next up, I've got a whip, and you've seen this as well. This is the Christmas Wonderland by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. I've been stitching on this for a couple of times now, but I got a lot done over the Christmas holiday. So this is the piece now. I got a lot of the mountains done in the background, the snowflakes at the top, that large house, which I love. If you look closely, you can see the candy canes at the door, which I think are super cute. And yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really loved stitching this over Christmas, and it's been a really fun project. I am going to put it away now since the holiday season is over, and I'll pick it up either in July. Maybe I'll do a Christmas in July, or this will come back out next December. But this was really my focus. I think I got about 50% done, but the pattern I'm using does not include the final part, so I'm probably not quite 50% there, maybe about 40% completed. But really fun, really loving to stitch. And that is Christmas Wonderland by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. That was my main whip this time. Now I have 2 new starts. The first one is Woodland Enchantress by Dimensions. Here is a picture of what this looks like. She's super pretty. I first saw this on the Flosstube by Suki, the brown-eyed stitcher. She's stitching it as well, and hers looked gorgeous, so I had to go out and get it and start it. It's really pretty. But I got about 2,464 stitches in, and I'm stitching this on the called for fabric. It's an 18 count that came with the Dimensions kit, and the called for thread in the kit as well. So this is where I got. I started in the upper left corner and stitched this section and this tree here. There's another big tree, a brown trunk that goes in there. Yeah, but this is about 2,500 stitches. These are all half cross, which I didn't realize when I first bought the pattern, but it's actually pretty cool. So most of the background is stitched with half cross, and I think that really makes it kind of pop in a different way. But it was really fun to stitch. I think doing the half crosses, it felt more like I was painting almost instead of stitching like normal. And obviously it goes a lot faster because you're only doing a half cross. But along with that, I had never used so many strands of thread. So I think one of them called for 5 strands of thread. Another one was 4 strands. So it took a little bit of getting used to stitch with that many threads. But again, it felt like you were kind of painting and made it a lot of fun. So full disclosure, this section here is a blended thread. It's got a light gray and a light blue. And that's what I did. And I stitched the whole section. And then I realized you're supposed to use 2 strands of each thread, and I used 1 of each. So it's supposed to be a little bit thicker there, but I don't think you can really tell. That's the only part of the pattern where that blend is called for. So I think I'm just going to leave it. I actually kind of like the dimension it kind of adds with the thicker yellow stitches here. So I think once the full piece is done, you're not going to notice, but that was a full disclosure. I missed that in the instructions. So this is Woodland Enchantress. This is actually, it was called for in my Whip Go, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So you'll see this a lot more in January as I'm stitching on this for Whip Go. And then my final start is my New Year start. I shared this last time, my plans to do the Fruits of Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. Jacob designed a beautiful pattern that I think a lot of people stitched in 2021, and I'm just getting to now. But I started stitching on this last night for New Year's Eve, probably about maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, and stitched on it until midnight. Got about 528 stitches in this section, and here's what I have so far. I'm really happy with the greens that I chose. 2 DMC green colors. 890 is the darker one, and I can't remember what the lighter one is. And this is on a 32 count smoky white linen. This is actually my first linen project. So I was a little nervous to get this started. Wasn't sure how the stitching over 2 would go. I'm stitching 2 over 2, and just wasn't sure how I would like stitching on linen, but I love it. It's honestly like stitching through butter. Your needle just kind of goes right through the fabric. It's so soft. And it just made it really enjoyable. So I'm happy to say that I love stitching on linen, at least after this first project. But I'm happy with the progress I got. It's really fun. I definitely want to keep this going for the year, and we'll see where I can get. Again, no deadline, but that is my new start. So next I wanted to talk about my Whipco board. I'm going to pop up a little picture of the board here. So last week when I talked to you, I said I might have to change the board a little bit because I'm down here in Florida. Well, lucky for me, the numbers that were called were already projects that I had. One of them was Woodland Enchantress, which is here in Florida that I had already started. And the other one I'm hoping to get from New York in time to stitch on it in January. So the two projects that were called were number 9 was the Woodland Enchantress. My goal for that one is to add 2,500 stitches, which would about double the number of stitches that I have currently on it. So I think that'll be really good progress, especially for the first month. And then the second piece, number 22, that was called for Whipco is my Pixel Dragon Adventure Sal. That's by Flossy Fox Shop. And my goal on that is to add 2,000 stitches. Now, I didn't bring that to Florida, but I'm going to try to get it here. My boyfriend is coming to visit for a weekend in January, and I'm going to try to have him bring it in his suitcase. If you remember that one, I'll try to pop a picture here. I'm stitching that on a 28 count. It's called Green Apple fabric, and I'm stitching that 1/1. So that is a very tiny stitch. So to get 2,000 stitches in is going to be kind of tough, especially when I'm only going to get the project maybe about halfway into the month. So once that gets here, I'm going to probably stitch on that exclusively to try to get that 2,000 stitches in and meet that goal. But I didn't have to change any of the rest of my Whipco board. So as you saw in the picture that I put here, I just have the projects listed, what my goal is. I don't have 25 whips, so my goals are kind of all over the place of either maybe starting something or doing a small ornament and finishing it, or putting a number of stitches in a project that I already have. And then I have little goals listed around, or little rewards listed on the edge. So if I get a bingo, then maybe I can purchase a new fabric. Or if I get a bingo in a cross, then I can get a new pattern or something. So that's what I decided to do this year for Whipco, but I'm really excited. Happy that the first 2 numbers called were ones that I'm already kind of good on. So don't have to stress about that. And so that's Whipco. I also wanted to just remind everybody that on January 8th, I and my friend Yoshi are going to be starting our first Mirabilia projects. So we're going to be stitching on Lily of the Woods by Mirabilia, and we're using the hashtag #FirstMiraSal. So if you'd like to join in, please do. And this doesn't have to be it could be your first Mirabilia ever, which is the case for us. It could be that you're stitching on Lily of the Woods and want to join in with that. That's perfect. It could also be just your first Mira of 2024. And if you want to get one started, please join us on January 8th and use that hashtag. I'm excited to see everybody's progress on what Miras they're working on and how they get going. So that would be great if you could join us there. I also wanted to call out a couple of Flosstubers that I've been watching, one of which is Cross Stitch Kate. I'll put her channel down below. She actually mentioned me in her last video. I reached out to her and said, hey, we're doing this Mira Sal if you want to hop on board. I know you've got a Mira lined up for later in the year. So I think she might actually join in on January 8th and put a few stitches into her first Mira for the first Mira Sal. But her channel is great. She does a lot of beautiful stitching. She's got a big finish on this last video that she filmed, so go check that out. But yeah, really just enjoy her channel, and excited to keep watching her progress. I've also been watching Crafty Gaming Jamie. She has been doing a Flossmas, so a small video every day in December, and those have been really fun. It's been fun to see kind of her working on her whips throughout this Flossmas season. And then I kind of went back and sort of watched some of her bigger Flosstube videos, and she does a lot of full coverage pieces, and I really like the designs that she picks. So it's always fun to kind of watch and see what she's stitching on, but go check her out if you're interested in full coverage. Crafty Gaming Jamie. I'll put her channel below. And the final one is I found the Flosstuber Johnny Saxon. He goes by Johnny Saxon, and I'll link his channel down below as well. But he has been doing Flosstube for about a year now, but he just released his 9th video in December, and I happened to stumble across it, watched it, and it was so much fun. His enthusiasm for cross-stitch is awesome. I love his explanation of things. He's just really a fun time to watch. So I went back and binge watched all of his floss tubes, starting with the first one, just because they were so good and it was fun. But he's done a lot of things. He has one video after his trip to the United States with some epic haul. I mean, he has a lot of stuff. But he's done great projects, pillows, ornaments. He actually does some woodworking. So he made like a little box for his floss, which was really cool. And he also talks a little bit about the books that he's reading, which is really fun. So if you're interested, go check him out, Johnny Saxon. I'll link his channel down below. But those are some of the floss tubes I've been watching lately and wanted to kind of shout them out. The final thing I have for you today is the giveaway from last time. So we reached 2,000 subscribers, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you. I can't say thank you enough. But as sort of a reward for reaching 2,000 subscribers, I thought I would do a giveaway of the pattern that I stitched, the Disney sweatshirt. So it's the pattern that I didn't use. It's brand new. And then also I've got the fabric in here. So I told people to use the word gang for Mickey and the gang in their comments if they were interested in winning this. And everyone was so creative with how they used gang. I just loved reading through the comments and seeing how everybody was using the word. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, so we had 59 people enter the giveaway, and I went through and did a randomizer to choose the winner for this week. And the winner, I'll put up the name here, is Mrs. Bobbin Lacer. And Mrs. Bobbin Lacer said, I would love to join the gang. Well, you're in. You won. So congratulations. Go ahead and send me an email to therunnerstitcher@gmail.com, and we'll get the details squared away. We'll get your address, and I will get this mailed off to you so you can hopefully start your Disney piece. But congratulations, Mrs. Bobbin Lacer. And again, thank you so much to everybody for subscribing to the channel. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the content. Really thrilled to be here and to be sharing my cross-stitch journey. I've got a lot to learn along the way, and I'm learning so much from all of you. But it's just fun to meet people who have a similar interest, and everybody's been so kind and so nice. So I can't say thank you enough. This has really been so much fun. I will be trying to make another video in about 2 weeks. However, I do have the Disney races coming up this week. I'm doing the Dopey Challenge, so it's 4 days of races, Thursday through Sunday. So I don't know how much stitching I'll actually get done. Maybe I'll do some recovery stitching where my legs are hurting and I can just sit there and stitch, but we'll see. So I might not have as much to show next time, but hopefully I will have some running news for you next time and can share some of the medals that we get from Disney. And I'm sure there'll be some pictures of my mom and I wearing our sweatshirts running around Disney. That's all I've got for you today. So if you're a runner, keep running, always keep stitching, and be kind to whoever you meet out there on your journey. Bye for now, until the next stitch.
What was I going to say?
You were going to say...
You have to stop.
Cut. You can press stop.